your reaction to Logan Raddick's report on these alleged Venezuelan drug smuggling boats, the double tap strikes? We've had mixed reaction from both Democrats and Republicans. Senator, where do you stand on this issue?
Well, I'm thankful that President Trump finally stepped up and did something about a problem that has resulted in the death of tens of thousands of Americans over recent years. And I'm talking specifically about the fentanyl crisis, but it's not limited to that drug alone: cocaine, heroin, and other illicit drugs. And all of the critics really want to offer nothing but the status quo, which is more Americans dying. So I appreciate President Trump using the power he has under the Constitution to intervene here and to stop these drug runners from bringing this poison into the country. And I think he saved lives in the process. Well,
to that point, there seems to be some frenzy in legacy media, Senator. Maybe you've seen it over these strikes or the double tap strike. Some Democrat lawmakers are speaking out about it. They disagree with it. I wanted to play what Democrat Congressman Jim Himes had to say, and then I'll get your response.
There is no such thing as a narco-terrorist. There are very, very bad narcotics people, cartels, etc., but they're desperate to make this look like it's ISIS or Al-Qaeda, because that's the very thin line on which their illegal use of the United States military to take these people out resides.
And, Senator, I assume you would have a rebuttal to Congressman Himes?
Yeah, he's wrong. First of all, President Maduro heads the Cartel of the Sun, it's called, which is intertwined with the drug business in Venezuela. They are cooperating with Iran and with a Hezbollah presence in Venezuela. But look, you either care about saving lives or you don't. And President Trump does, and I'm glad he's using the authority he has under the Constitution to stop some of this poison from coming into the country.
Well, President Trump sees these strikes as huge wins for the administration's recent war on narco-terror, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, he goes on to say these strikes will continue. Watch.
We've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco-terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people. We're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco-terrorists.
So that continues, Senator. Obviously, you're on board with it, and you're comfortable with these decisions by the administration.
I am.
What do you say to those that are not? What do you say to those that say the president, the Secretary of War, all the admirals that acted, the man or woman on the trigger, committed war crimes?
Well, I think that's inflammatory and wrong. This is clearly within the president's authority. But, you know, these debates have occurred over many, many decades. The power of the president versus the power of the Congress to declare war. And we have authorized the use of military force in some specific instances. But it's unlikely that the president, because of Trump derangement syndrome, it's unlikely that Congress is going to act here. So the president needs to act and respond to this public health crisis. And he's doing so, and I support that.
All right. I'll move on to this because you did mention it, fentanyl. Senator, the president just signed several of your bills to combat the fentanyl crisis into law. Talk to the viewers and the American public that are watching the broadcast now a little bit about what these bills entail and why it is important that the president signed off on them.
Well, fentanyl has been a terrible scourge in so many of our schools across Texas and across the country. I've visited a number of them where parents lost their children who thought they were taking some innocuous pill, but only to die as a result of fentanyl poisoning. And what this bill does is it makes sure that more drugs, which are available to help reverse fentanyl poisoning, are made available. And so hopefully that will save lives. But this goes hand in hand. It's not a substitute. It really is complementary of the president's interdiction efforts and to stop the poison from coming into the country. But we know a lot of it still is already here. And this will hopefully help parents and teachers and others save lives of people who inadvertently take this poison.
All right. Absolutely. Saving lives. That is top priority. Senator John Cornyn with his thoughts. Senator, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.